okay? But it's reasonably close. And we may have our reason why this report has not been very impactful in the size of its moves. You have matching or very close news for a very long time on this report. So if you do a little sneaking around, well, not sneaking around, but just think outside the box a little bit, you can usually figure out why a report might not be working. So I would say this report has not been working basically because their forecasting has been close. It's been not much of a news offset. News offset meaning the difference between the forecast and the actual result has been very similar, and that makes for not a very active reaction in the index that we're trading. Okay, and when you have Canadian news, you're trading the Canadian dollar. That's pretty much the main index you'd be looking to trade on Canadian news. You're not going to trade, the 6B, right? You're going to trade the Canadian dollar. So that's what you do. And that's 6C. So I set up, and I should label it, and I really should have set up 2. So let's make this, no, you know what? Let's let it play. I'm going to call this a Canadian core CPI squeeze, either direction. And we don't need core in there. We'll call it CPI squeeze. Okay. And that's let's just see if there's any move using the squeeze signals after the news, right after the news. There's no point. I would not trade this report live. It has not given a profit in 4 to 6 months. We'll trade our squeeze live this morning after this. But you don't have any indication of what this report's going to do. But I would still set up a reversal. I wouldn't trade the breakout because there really has been no breakouts on this report lately. It hasn't been working as a breakout. If you look at the DMM one more time, Canada core CPI, a reversal trade may be a better approach, but even there, the reactions are also shrinking in size. General decline in performance with 3 whipsaws in the last 6 months, April and February. Well, that's November, so that doesn't, let's see, April and February. April, dull. Okay, and then talking about 2019 doesn't matter. Point is just not much movement, not much reaction from this trade. So I certainly would not do it as a breakout trade. Of course, it could work, but I think your better chance of anything happening would be a reversal, turn off the zones. With a reversal, you really just have to make a decision. How many positions do I want to try? So Canada is $5 a tick. I would always look for 20 ticks. I would always look for a 20 tick stop on most reversal trades. And a reversal trade is a 1-click range trade. Why? Let's label it. Okay, let's spell it right. Why one-click range trade? Because when you enable it, now it's a little bit tricky to see because of the labeling. So let's fix it. Let's make it more obvious so there's no confusion. So for this morning, we know we're in Canada. So we'll just make sure that reversal shows up. Okay. And we can do it that way. That way you don't click the wrong trade. So now the reason you do a reversal trade is if you click the long or the short button, right? Whoops. I want to turn my cursor off so I can see where my click is. If you click the long or the short button, it puts you right in the market, but it uses our stops and our targets. So that is the best possible way to use our software. Is that pretty clear for everybody? Everybody understand that? We've done it 1,000 times, but there's a lot of different setups. So if you get confused, it's okay. I don't mind explaining it. Now I want to make sure that my sound is good. We want to make sure that our time is good. So let's check our time once more. On a reversal, it doesn't matter as much because it might be a few seconds after the news is released. A reversal, the timing is not quite as important as a breakout trade. I mean, it's not as important. It's nowhere near as important. So the idea with a reversal is if the index explodes down, I'll click the long button and I'll be protected. I'll be protected by our software, the stop. All right. So that's the most important thing, is that the software protects us. Then we'll probably take a couple of minutes. You can heat up your coffee. Instead of closing the trade room, I'll keep it running, but we don't trade the squeeze trade before 9, certainly. We haven't been. Carlos, the name of the floating clock is Topmost Clock. And if you send me an email at help@10minutetrades.com, 10minutetrades.com, I'll happily send you the clock. Help@10minutetrades.com. The clock is great. If you right click it dead center in the middle, you can adjust it. Change the color, the size. If you left click it dead center in the middle, you can move it around. It's really just a separate program that'll work with any platform. Very low resources also. Topmost clock. But if you don't want to risk any viruses, send me an email at help@10minutetrades and I'll send you a clean version of the software. The clock. We love the clock. I don't remember who gave it to me years and years and years ago. Somebody said, hey, this clock is awesome. Now, look, you could get a perfectly good reversal today. It's possible. But because the results on this trade have been pretty much 0 for 6, out of 6 months, I wouldn't trade it. The odds of something good happening are really small. It's best to let the trade, when a trade is performing poorly, the idea is you let the trade prove itself. It has to start behaving before you want to put real money in it. Now, look, I mean, trading a reversal, you have a decision. You don't have to take a trade. So there's no risk in setting up a reversal. Reversals take practice also. I recommend if someone wants to start trading reversals, you trade 10 reversals in a row, practice and replay. Because if you time it wrong, and also look at your levels, there could be a pop to the high of the day, right? It's probably not going to get down to the VWAP. That's unlikely. You don't want to scrunch your charts or spread them apart too much, because then the size of the reversal might be misleading, right? 45, it's not that many ticks to get to the high, not a huge reversal if it gets to the high. Those are things that you need to keep in mind also. One of the biggest issues with the reversal is rushing or not looking at the chart to see what's around. And there are a lot of elements that make up the core CPI. So you got 30 seconds. So there's been no reactions to this report, possibly because the news has not been far away from the forecast, but investing.com doesn't have much in the way of forecasting today, which does not help. News is out. Very slow reaction. I can see the news is out. Wholesale sales CPI -2 versus -1. Very small for offset. Very small. No move. No move. No reversal. No breakout. 2 ticks. 2 ticks. So you really don't have a trade again. Now, if it goes down 20 ticks fast, maybe have a trade. You have a short signal in the squeeze, right? You have a short signal in the squeeze. If you were going to take it, now let me see if I have, there it is. So my short signal set up right would be about 2 ticks below the zone, okay? I wouldn't want to take it on the long side because I don't have a long side signal. But you've got no movement here either, okay? Now I take it back. It's a long signal. Let me explain it why. Let me kill this and explain it why. It's not a short signal, it's a long signal. You're down below, you're below the zone, and your signal is 2 ticks. It really was before the news was released. And your long would have been around 15. You'd be in the trade and you'd be flat, okay? When you have absolutely no movement, there's just no point in taking a trade. So short signal, a long signal, not a short signal, using the squeeze signal. Your price was below the zone. Your squeeze went down. You got your change in momentum to the upside. You got your signal green to the upside. Your signal candle was earlier than the news. So we don't like to trade right before the news. It's risky. It would have pulled you in long, and now you would be losing money. Okay? You would be losing money. Now, is there a very, very slow reversal here? You've only got about three ticks, 3 or 4 ticks. You really have no trade here. That's the truth. You don't want to force a trade when you don't have a trade. You don't have a real good reason to go long here. You have a signal. The signal failed. Okay. The signal failed, didn't work. It's still going down. The news is a little bit more negative than expected. Okay. You also had wholesale sales. They were negative, but a tiny bit better than expected. So you just don't have a tradable reaction. And that's what we're looking for, is a tradable reaction. Yes, you could have taken a reversal trade and gone long after a 4-tick move. Does that make sense? Not really. How many ticks was this candle? 10, 5 is 1, 0 is 2, 3, 4 ticks. It's not exactly what I would call a great reversal trade. 4 ticks. Okay, everybody understand? Everybody get it? The symbol, Umair, the symbol, I hope I pronounced your name right. We're trading the Canadian dollar, 6C, the Canadian dollar futures. 6C is the instrument we're trading. 6C, Canadian dollar, okay? That's the instrument we're trading. On Canadian news, that's what you want to trade. Because what else would move on Canadian news? Years ago, oil would sometimes move on Canadian news. Years ago, oil moved on everything. When oil was $100, we used to trade oil. This is before my time with the company. The company traded oil on almost every report in the old days. Those were the old days. Now, there's nothing you can do when you get a report that doesn't move. We expected a report that didn't move because the last 6 have not done much. Now, if you traded right before the news, you were taking extra risk. It told you to go long, and you'd be sorry now. So we don't trade 1 minute before the news because it's not the wisest time to trade. You're best off trading after, okay? Not before. You're starting to get a long signal on the Canadian dollar with our signal system, but it's been such a mediocre move. I would probably just let this go and move on to our next set of trades. You don't have the long signal yet. You get the long signal when the squeeze changes momentum. Okay. It has not changed momentum yet. There is no reversal trade. All right, folks. Let's set the charts up for the next room. You got nothing here. I call this a no trade. I mean, it is a no trade. There's no trade. Even if you get a long signal here, you've had such a small move. Yeah, you could take it. You wouldn't be taking it as a news trade because the news had no effect. Okay? You would not be taking it as a news trade. And we're not really here for the purpose of trading the Canadian dollar after the news. That's not our main purpose here. We have something else that we're planning on doing. And that's trading our squeeze trade on the MES. Okay. So just a no trade, no big deal. There's a couple of things I like to look at when we get ready for our next trade room. We don't need news, so it doesn't take up our chart. I like to keep the news on, world news on in the background in case anything is going on in the world that I want to know. I want to look at the oil chart on a 30-second chart this time of the day. Right after the Canadian news, you had a beautiful, beautiful short. That worked very nice. We want to put our Joe zone indicator on the chart. Nine-period Joe zone indicator. And then to set up our squeeze play, and I'm just watching oil. We're not trading oil in the morning. We're watching it to see the quality of the squeeze. But I do want to thank everybody who came here to watch the Canadian core CPI report. This trade room is officially over. All right. Please remember that if you came here through Facebook or from any streaming system, please remember that all the trades we take, we're taking for educational purposes, and they are a window into the way that I might be trading them, okay? And you can lose money trading futures. So please be careful and understand that about all trading. You can lose money trading unless you know what you're doing. You need to learn. It's very important to learn proper methods. So our next set of trades is going to be on the MES. I'm going to watch oil for the quality of the signals, and I need to set up two trades, which I've pre-set up for the MES. I have them as templates. Okay, so I'm going to load them in. I should have a long squeeze. All right. 2 ticks above the range, 2 ticks below. One target for 8 ticks, a target for 30, a stop at 25. Long only. Everything looks good. Apply it, okay it. Now I've got my MES trade. Now I'm going to do the same thing again, short only. Add the strategy. Make sure JOBB is highlighted so I could bring my template in, load, short squeeze. Same setup, but the opposite, short only. It's going to be labeled 2 ticks above the range, 2 ticks below the range. 8 tick target. Let's fix that template, save it so it's the same as my long one. Okay. Make sure I'm labeled. It's a 1-click range trade. That's the type of trade we're using. I am going to trade it. So let's make sure that my long is also set for real trading. Real account. We have about 25 minutes. Okay. And I'm going to take 3 minutes because this is a very long trade room to heat up my coffee. Okay. Going to heat up my coffee, and then I'm going to come back with hot coffee. Now, MES is already giving signals. I'll be back in 4 minutes. We don't start trading for a good almost a half an hour. So if you have questions about setting up the strategy, Now is the time to get those questions ready, and I'll be right back. Okay? Get your questions ready. Okay, we're back. Do you all realize, good morning, Wave, you should have a 2-bar look back. The one thing that we have not discussed enough on our strategy is make sure that your look back is 2. 1 click bars look back, make sure it's 2, okay? The zone period doesn't matter because we're using the Joe zone indicator to create the zones, okay? We're early, we're not going to trade yet. Now, don't forget, let me start the trade room for people that are just getting here. This is officially a new trade room. This is our squeeze trade room. So we'll start it again. And my name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10-Minute Trades. Let's start this right. My name is Lee Goldstein, the trading director at 10-Minute Trades. Welcome to the Squeeze Trade Trade Room. All trades being discussed are for educational purposes. You can lose money trading futures, so please Trade carefully and don't trade money you cannot afford to lose. Be careful. All right, we're also going to stick around for oil, the oil report, okay? Today is Wednesday, so this is a long trade room, a long trade room. Now we've got more than 20 minutes. I want to do a little bit of bookkeeping, not bookkeeping, but preparation that normally we wouldn't be in the trade room, and I would have this time to myself to do a little bit of file gathering, grab some videos so we could look at some of the oil reports. So that's what I'm doing in the background. I'm just grabbing some videos. Today is the 20th. So last week's oil report was probably the 13th, right? May 13th. So I'm looking for, I have a collection of millions of videos. All right. I keep a collection of videos so that when you spend your time with us in the trade room, we can look at the behavior of the various reports. And that helps us make a decision as to whether or not we want to take a trade, right? Now, one of the real issues is we've been trading oil as reversals, and it may very well be that the current behavior of oil is lending itself just as well, if not better, maybe. And it's something we have to look into, and I'll have it resolved by next week. It may be oil is a breakout again, and a reasonably safe breakout to take. So I'm essentially waiting for a nice, good stop on oil, and then seriously considering just trying to do it as a breakout for a while to see what kind of results we get. And the reason I say it is because when you go back and you look, one of the issues with oil, just so everybody understands, oil is one of those trades that in the old days, you had to trade it live always to have any idea how it was working. But it's been behaving more slowly lately. That's the one thing that we've been noticing. It hasn't been, and that's probably related to all the difficulties in price, all the issues with the contracts, margins, less traders. There's a lot of issues probably that are affecting why oil has been so problematic. Not maybe problematic's not the right word, but maybe the right word is its properties of trading, the way that it's reacting has changed. So that's not necessarily problematic, it's just different. Okay. Oil is trading differently. So it's just something to realize when you look at oil that maybe our approach needs a reboot. Okay. And that's what I want to look into. Maybe oil needs a reboot. And maybe that's a good thing because that might mean we have a new weekly report that we hadn't been trading that might now be safe to trade. So something I've been thinking about with oil. Chantal, do you want to co-moderate this room? Keep me from myself. Right now we're watching the MES. I don't see any questions. So are there any questions about setting up the MES trade? Any questions? Now, normally I don't take trades this early. We wait. We wait usually till about 9:05, 9:10. It's quiet this time of day, but you can still see that there are signals, right? Our squeeze system still gives signals. You have a long signal at 8:39. You have, and it's a very nice signal because you have 4 nicely moving negative squeezes up top. You get a coral squeeze in the opposite direction. And your entry would be approximately 29.53. And you easily get 8 ticks. I mean, it's not a phenomenal trade, but it's also early in the day. So let's double check. What would our entry have been? Approximately 29.53. And it went 8 ticks. Right to the top of the zone, which is a good place to take a first target. But it's also the time of day where you don't get gigantic moves. You certainly don't get usually really very, very, very fast moves this time of day, unless there's news or earnings or something. Wave, in order to put the Joe Zone indicator on the chart, right-click the chart, go to indicators, look in your indicator list, scroll down, Ninja Trader 8. It must be Ninja Trader 8. Otherwise, you have to do it differently. Look for the indicator called Joe Colored Zones. Click on it, double click it so it appears down here. And then make sure the period is 9. It's just a regular indicator. That's all it is. A regular indicator that we wrote. Okay? It's a proprietary indicator that we wrote. So this right now we're just watching. You had a squeeze moving down before 8 o'clock, right? If you're an early bird and you like slow trades and you like Globex trading, early morning trading, you can still use our squeeze signals. You get a long signal at 7:55 at the top of the zone, right? So your entry would have been 29.52. Price never breaks the bottom of the zone, even when it made a slightly bigger zone. Okay. That's the zone I would use. It's a pretty small zone anyway. So your entry, one more time, downward squeezes, you get a long signal down on your signal squeeze, 2 ticks above the candle, roughly 52, and it goes all the way up to a new high, 20 ticks. Now look how long it took though to get 20 ticks. Your entry was at 55 and it didn't get to your 20 ticks until, it wasn't that long, 20 minutes. 20 minutes, not that bad. 25 minutes. Then while you were in, right as you were exiting that trade, it gave you a short signal at 55.50 that also worked, and it got as low as 50. Joe Colored Zone should be on the indicator list, Wave, as long as you've enabled our strategy at some time. It should be there. Then you had a long signal after the Canada news. Price was going down. Green long signal. Your entry was approximately 53, and you're 6 ticks above 53. And right now, price is 54.50. So that's 6 ticks. So right now, the trade's working. Oil. Now it is oil inventory day. So you have to be careful on oil inventory day. Let's look back. Let's look at 8 o'clock. We'll start at 8. See what the quality of the signals were. So right before 8, you only have one red bar. Your signal to go long. In my opinion, it is a valid signal. You broke the price. You broke the zone. Okay. Not a good trade. This was not a good signal. A little bit early to trade oil. I like after 8. I think after 8 is better, but let's see what kind of loss. How bad of a loss would this have been? If you took let's see if you would have gotten filled. You got a signal to go long and it did not fill you. So thank goodness for the software. 2 ticks above, your signal was 2 ticks above this green candle. Roughly 69. Did price go there? Let me make sure. No, that candle is at the same 1, 2. The entry, let's be exact about it because we're very close. You would not have gotten filled. Entry would have been 70. Okay. And you can see no fill. Your red candle was the same height as your green. So you would have passed on that trade because of no fill. And then you did get another long signal, but only one red bar. Okay. So maybe you would have waited, maybe not, depending on your aggression level. Your long signal would have been 62. It went as low as 51. Now, it did not break the zone. This zone was very small. In all honesty, you got to use a 15 tick stop with oil. If you use a 10 or 11 tick stop, it's going to be hard to make money. So I don't want to, tell you that that was a 100% winner. Some people might have lost money if they used an 11 or 12, a 10 tick stop. Now, in theory, you broke the zone here, but you didn't get a signal for quite a while to go short at not, the signal quality wasn't bad, but I don't like when you're sort of in the zone when you're getting your signals. I prefer these types of signals when you're outside of the zone. And you could see the zones are very small, maybe because it's inventory day. You don't really start getting good movement on oil this morning anyway until after 8:30. Because the first good move is at 8:30. So you have to think about what time of day you want to trade. You want to trade oil. All right, Chantal is ready. Put her mic on. See if your mic works.
Good morning.
Let's see, it's working. Can everybody hear Chantal?
Maybe I can put my headset. It's going to be better. Wait.
All right.
So like that. No, wait. Like that. Is it better?
Let's speak a little bit.
Hello, hello. Good
It's
morning,
fine.
everybody.
Either way
It's
is
fine?
good. Either way is fine.
Okay, so I have to look at what you did so far.
So I really haven't done anything yet.
Sorry, I was busy with other stuff that you
Yeah.
know.
So, I mean, I set up our trades. We have a short setup, a long setup. My short, 2 ticks above, 2 ticks below, 8 tick target, 30 tick target, 25 tick stop, short only. So we're ready. And really, it's in a trade right now. And there's the chart. Let's see what would have happened. So that trade was triggered at 8:40 after the news. And it went, I think it only went 6 ticks. And then it
It's a little bit
reversed.
early though.
Yeah, we wouldn't have taken that trade. It's too early.
But now we can be ready for a short.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah, but it's like that between 9 and 9:30.
Yeah,
get
I agree. So one thing we have to be careful, there is a high of the day right above us. VWAP is below us.
Just that you can maybe shrunk a little bit your target when it's early like that.
Now, I said I wasn't going to talk myself out of trades, but it sure looks like it wants to test the high, but let's see. What time did we actually decide we're going to start trading? After 9?
Yes, after 9.
So if we get a signal here, this is a valid signal.
In my testing, I have a lot of trades like around 9:03, like 9:04. And mostly
So that is a valid trade.
they were good mostly. Let me open my sheet.
So we have the squeeze moving up, and we have a valid short signal.
Yes, there is a lot. Before 9:10, there's a lot of signal.
So we're just waiting to see if the price moves in our direction.
Maybe this morning is going to move better than yesterday.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I talked myself out of the best trade.
Yes, I know.
This is a canceled trade. Why is that a canceled trade? Even if it moves down, it's a canceled trade because you got an opposite signal. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
That's a canceled trade. We got one signal to go short, and then the price action, the squeeze reversed. Ironically, we'd have been filled at about 0.00, and we'd be up a tick. Right now, we'd be up 1 tick. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. We have a set of rules. We have to follow them. Now we're waiting for price to make a decision. We could get a long, we could get a short. Now, do you have another trade? No, not really, because we already had our signal and it was nullified. Okay. So we don't take it. Our trade was nullified. All right. And the market is really, really slow, but
No, but it's like that, like I
yeah,
told you, in the before the open.
right now, 0-0 was our entry, right? We'd be flat. Now, of course, it'll drop 5 million ticks,
No,
5 billion ticks.
no, we're gonna wait for a for a long signal.
We did the right thing. You still, if you have a signal and it gets nullified, you nullify. You don't trade. That's the rule. Sometimes it'll work, but you have the rule to keep you safe. There's a purpose. Now, we don't want to forget to watch oil this morning, so I think I'll set my clock. And see prices going up now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, we
No,
want to
but
see red.
no, but we didn't went outside the zone. So
No, we want to see red. We need price to go down further before we can trade this.
I think it's gonna be a short, the next one, because
It
we
might,
didn't went outside the
yeah,
zone.
yeah. Let's see what happens. Didn't break the zone. Broke the zone.
Yes.
I think it wants to test the high. You got R1 and the high. So now we're waiting for the squeeze. It's going to give a short signal.
The problem with that is under zero on the squeeze. I would not take it.
Yeah, I don't, well, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. So Chantal designed this trade. How much testing have you really done, honest, where you've looked at how it's been on the squeeze when the squeeze is small? Seriously.
I was always waiting for 2 green bar
You like
put
2 green bars.
to put my
Yeah.
my order back.
We would be filled short right now. Right now we'd be short because it hit that little circle that you see there. So the short would have been at 50.
Don't forget Mark. He's the first one who designed it.
Yeah, that's true. Where is Mark? Mark, are you traded yet? No, it's a sideways market is what Mark is saying, which I kind of agree. Now that short
would have not worked.
it would not have worked, and I still think it wants to test that high. I'd like to wait for a good signal. There's no rush to trade before the open. I'd rather have good signals. And there is something to be said for when a market is sideways. It hasn't, it's going to test that high. It's going to test that high. Markets are up somewhat, little bullish, not phenomenally, medium. I would not take a short when it's getting ready to test the high. Not when it's that close. I might wait for the open this morning, as Mark is doing also, just to get some movement, just to get some movement. Nothing wrong with that.
But at the open, he's trading it another way.
Yeah, but I mean, you still want movement, and especially because it's slowly going to test this high.
I think it's another. Where is the market now? Yeah, it's always testing that same high for now. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 time now that it's
8 days.
testing that. Yeah, but it didn't stay at that level all day, but it's been there for 8 days now in the past month. So that's a place where market doesn't want to go higher, and if it's removed on the downside, then it's okay. But to go higher, it seems to be very hard. But we should not try to find the trend.
I mean, would you take a short here?
I think so. I was looking at the time. Yes, I have a lot of trades around 9:15. That work. Yes.
Yeah, my only problem is it's 50. It's like 4 ticks from the high.
Okay.
I want to let it test the high.
And maybe it's gonna test the high only after the open.
Right.
But right at the open, if we got a candle like the previous one with the wick like that at the open, it would been interesting. But there's still
Gonna get a short signal.
there's still 15 minutes almost.
We're going to get a short signal. You got no movement. No?
No. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
It was like late.
It was late.
It was like delayed. But you should put your target on the bottom of the zone if you are.
If I'm going to take it, I don't like to know there's like zero movement in this market. I'm gonna wait until the open this morning.
I wait, at least it's gonna be like that every morning.
No, it's been better. We've had more
Yes.
movement.
Yes.
Yesterday there was better movement.
When,
This is dead. Let's see if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then I'll retire.
no.
So you'd be short. You'd be short. I just think this morning is way slower than it's been all week. And it does want to test. I want it to test that high. And if it wants to fail, that's great. Let it fail. We still have almost an hour to trade. And if you remember when we originally started this, we didn't trade until the open. So our signal would have been around 50 or 75. So it'd be 2 or 3 ticks positive. I mean, the question is, maybe that was the test. That's what you never know. That could have been the test.
It's possible.
It's a little far for that to be the test by a couple of ticks, but with the market, you never know. So we'll watch. And if, you know, if your decision is incorrect, you don't want to beat yourself up about it. That's the most important thing. Don't beat yourself up, because then you won't be able to do anything else. So the entry was the first green candle. It looks like, is there a wick there? It's hard to tell.
The one before?
75. This one here, 75.
Why do you need a? Oh, okay.
No, I just want to
The
know.
level. Yeah, I understand.
54.75, 53.50. So we got 5 ticks. Theoretical 8 to 10 target. And very struggling. Doesn't mean it won't work. So we're waiting. Market's really in a range this morning. Not a lot of big zones, not a lot of movement. Now I know it's before the open. I know it's quiet. But you can wait. If you want to wait till the open, you can. It's better movement. So now you're possibly looking for a long trade when price gets out of the zone. When and if.
When I did my testing, there was very little amount of trades after 920.
There were very few after 920.
Yeah, almost none. In the
Really?
last month, there was only one.
After 920?
Yes.
That's fun. That's strange, isn't it?
But I didn't took the one that was very close to the open. So I was looking between 920 and 925,
Uh-huh.
and there was almost none. But what about that short? How many ticks?
So the entry, what do we say the entry was? I don't see a wick on that candle. So entry would have been 29.55, and it got to 53 and a quarter.
So it's 9 tick.
Is that 9 ticks?
Yeah.
So if you used the target of 8, you could have gotten out. If you used the target of 10, you'd be waiting.
No, but at that time of the day, you should use less than 10.
I would have used 8. I would have used 8. So it could have hit my target. So now we're waiting. Now you're getting close to the open. I'm going to wait for the open this morning. I think, and I don't like to guess. I don't like to, we don't like to guess direction. My gut feeling, market is a little bit bullish. It's going to go test that high and burst through it a little bit, at least. We do know it's a difficult level, that the market's been having trouble getting through that level.
Did you read Mark's comment to say that?
What's that?
Did you read Mark's comment? Because
No.
he was saying the same thing.
Was he?
Yes, that's cool. Maybe because it's going to be the right trade to do.
Now, theoretically, that is a long signal, but again, we're close to the open, and I had made a decision to wait for the open this morning. So I'm okay.
No, but it's really not a long signal because the
Oh,
candle
it never
before,
got out of the zone. It
yeah.
didn't get out of the zone.
So the one before should have gone out of the zone, but
Yeah, it didn't get out of the zone because the signal came after the price got out of the
exactly.
zone. My mistake. So
Anyway,
now
it's too
we're
close.
waiting for the open.
Yeah.
Let the market tell us what it wants to do, hopefully. So we're just waiting for the market to open. Little bit of downward movement. Did it test the high? You could get a little bit of an argument on that. 3 ticks away. It's pretty close. Pretty close. tiny little zone there. So that was not an official long trade because price was not outside of the zone at the time of the first long signal. But you could say that it was a late signal. No?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You could say it was a late signal. Just a
Well,
little bit close to the open.
I guess you are using the squeeze at 10 period.
Yeah. Yes, it should be.
Okay.
It better be. Whoops. Not the strategy.
No, not the strategy.
We want the indicator. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So what you have, if you analyze, this trade would have given you your ticks, would have worked. A first target trade. This signal was late, and it's working also. Market's open.
Now now we don't know anything, but I was about to say we were looking for a short signal, but
It's a little early, right?
we
So
don't
what
know.
would you give it? 2 minutes?
It all depends. If it reverse on the high,
So
maybe
now we're getting the test. Now you have the test of the high. So now, does it burst through and keep going?
yes.
You did not get a short signal there.
Not yet.
It made a new high. That's a shame, huh?
Yes.
But that's what you get. You get that kind of action often at the open.
Yes. Often. It's like that every morning, like for the first 3 to 5 minutes. You're gonna have a short signal over there for sure.
It's a little bit early. Don't you think?
I don't think. I'm just the co-moderator.
It's only 9:32. It's a little bit early. I got to
Yes,
give it one more minute.
you get your
I-
signal, but it's
We-
already outside the zone, but it's reversed at the top. I don't know.
I
It's not
think
an easy one.
this is very, very, very tricky right now. So you wait until you think you have a good signal. So we're going to let this one go by. It just barely came out of the zone, right? It was outside of the zone. on the top.
But
Now, we kind of have to wait for the price to settle down now.
that's the rule. So let's play with the rule.
So we're waiting for this setup to finish. This trade, it might work as a short. It was early. It was a little bit early because look how much it went against you also. It tested the high. It did fail at that high so far. And we're just watching. You're in the middle of the zone, so we don't have a signal now. We're waiting. The zone is now reformed. The zone is reformed. And there's no signal yet because your price is in the middle of the zone. It's not above or below the zone. Mark, did you trade any of that?
Mark is waiting for breakout of the first 3 minutes.
The breakout of the first 3 minutes?
That's what he's waiting for. So now if it breaks down, he's gonna take it.
9:30 to 9:33.
So if it breaks the low, it's gonna
right. Breaks the low or breaks the high. Well, there's sense in that. I'd like to see the price either get above the zone and give us a good short signal.
We might not get it. That's the problem. It might just go short and without giving us that.
Right. It's true.
Open are different.
I'm trying to think when we first started this, what time did we start trading?
9:33.
That was when we first started in the very beginning?
Oh, I think so.
So now you have a potential long signal. I don't know that I want to go long, but that's what I always do.
Yeah, but around 9:40, it tends to reverse.
So if we get a long signal, I have to take it by law, or I'll get arrested.
And you don't want to do the same thing as yesterday.
I'm supposed to take it. Yesterday, I tried to guess the direction.
Yeah.
And I don't want to guess direction today.
It was the same setup as now it's looking exactly the same as yesterday. And it went up yesterday, but that we never know.
Are my squeezes messed up or what? No signal. No signal.
You're looking for a long.
No signal.
30 seconds to go.
Right. No signal. Hello?
It's not moving. Maybe the alt.
I thought my chart was broken.
Now there is a signal. Is it gonna fill?
Where is it going to drop down? So we got a signal. Our squeeze changed direction, momentum. And still have a long signal. Looks like it wants to fill. There's our fill. Our stop goes below the zone.
I will move
Looking
it
for a
just
10
one
tick
tick.
target.
I would move it just one tick lower, just to be one tick under the.
I'll take my target. Move my
Okay.
stop to break even plus 1 tick.
You can
All
play
right,
with it.
let's trail a little bit. Let's trail a little bit. Let's trail a little bit to the top of the zone. All right. I'll take that trade as a first trade and let's chill for a few minutes. Let's chill.
So let's see if it's gonna reverse.
Now you have a potential short signal, right?
Right.
We'll take it if we get it, right?
Yes.
I'll take it.
You'll take it. Yes, because I didn't do anything.
Do we want to take it? Would this burst up like that? Yeah, we don't want to guess
Yeah.
direction, right?
Yes. Especially that it didn't go far.
We don't want to guess direction. No signal. No signal. Anybody else out there trading with me? Or is this just a show? Just curious if anybody else is trading with me. Fred, I know you're trading, right? Fred, you usually trade with me. It's a little choppy. If we get a signal, we are supposed to take it. I'm not trying to guess. No signal. Green.
Sorry, I will cut my mic because of the noise over here, just for a few minutes.
I don't hear anything.
No, okay.
We don't hear anything.
It's the garbage truck and it's doing a lot of noise.
Honest, you can't hear a thing.
Okay, then if you can hear it, tell me.
Now, maybe I would have gotten stopped on this candle here. So I'm not going to go cry in a corner that we're not still in this trade?
No, it's not easy like that because you don't have any level to go. Where you're
We've
gonna
got
put
nothing
your
here. We've got nothing.
no. So
We got
it's
nothing. The market's bullish. Somebody might have said something. Right now, we're still waiting to see if there's a short signal.
there is one on oil.
Yes, there is. Long signal still. Remember, you're watching the squeeze momentum, and that gives you your signals. Fred made some money with us. No one else is trading with us. Oil had a signal to go short. I'm interested in looking at oil after 9 o'clock. I want to go back and look at 9:03, 3 minutes before 9 possibly, but preferably 9:01, 9:02 after the open. Could get a signal here. If you hear in the background, Chantal has a house full of ducks.
Oh, you can hear it. So now you got a signal.
I hear your duck.
Yeah. And she is quiet this morning.
She is quiet this morning. So we do have a short signal. Change in momentum on the squeeze. So I'm not trying to guess direction, because every time I try and guess direction, I get burned. If the squeeze changes color, then I'll cancel, okay? Because that nullifies our signal. If it doesn't change color, then we stay in. We keep our orders alive. Obviously, if it fills us, then it doesn't matter.
Oil is moving a lot. Now it's making a new high.
So we still have a valid order.
It seems like they released the report earlier.
Yeah,
look,
it looks like
look at the
oil
move.
came out early.
I know, but the move
But we
is
know
big.
it's not. They don't release it this early.
No, I know, but the move is.
We know it would never come out this early. Although you never say never. That's the one thing we've learned. Never say never. I hate, what's the word? Never say never. It's not a homily. It's a cliche.
Oh,
Try to avoid cliches. I would have thought we might have had a long signal on that. So creating, trying to create a new high on the ES. And there it goes. Creating a new high.
Now okay. So now
Everybody
again,
understand why that was a cancel? That's a cancel. I'm not sure. Well, look, we say this all the time. Our next signal still is a short. Price is out of the zone. If we get a short signal, we're allowed to take it. Right?
right.
It is allowed. Here comes a new signal. It is a short signal.
And art is going to the moon.
The stop is quite small,
No, you should put it above the wick.
above the high.
Yes.
And because of the market's been so bullish,
Can you click the F button on your oil chart? Because we barely can see the price now.
yeah. So I think in some ways, the market was bullish. Market was bullish. We try not to talk ourselves out of trades. But you can almost tell, in all honesty, that trade had a very small chance of working.
I would have taken it. Because we
Well,
never know.
we did take it.
Yes, but we never know. Sometimes it's the best trade. When you think that everything's gonna go the other way,
Yeah.
sometimes they are the best.
So our stop it could be 2 ticks above that high.
Yes.
That's not unreasonable.
Can you just spread it a little bit? Because can barely see. Yes.
How's that?
Thanks.
Better?
Better.
So we're waiting. We've got a couple of ticks above the high. Excuse me.
Now we got the zone. I think your step is 1 tick higher, but it's okay. 1 tick, I don't care. Maybe you do.
There we go.
Okay. So what is your first target? Do you know?
$61.75, 60 and a quarter.
So it's 7 tick. Maybe, no, maybe. Oh, you want to shrink it?
Yeah, I don't like the price action.
Oh, it's gonna be the best trade.
Yeah, all right, let's see. Let's see.
We never know.
No, it's impossible to know. Impossible. The market owes you nothing, no favors, no nothing.
Me personally, I will not be in a rush to move the stop on this one, but
Yeah, I was thinking I would move it halfway.
okay. So you are the one that.
So in
taking
other
the-
words, move my stop to the top of that candle.
Okay, good idea.
And then our target, or
That
maybe
is,
move it right to the top of the candle.
then your target can be the low of the zone. Just one tick above.
Yeah. It just
Now it's one tick
struggling.
below.
This baby's struggling. Maybe. Let's see. Now, if it goes down a bunch, if it doesn't go down much more than this,
Those higher high of the market every morning, it's really not easy.
no. I want my stop. If the price goes down, I'll trail a little bit. Tick per tick. Tick per tick, I'll be flat. I can live with flat. Then I don't mind. Now, no matter what. See that? Stop is flat. Maybe it's tight. Didn't quite get the kind of follow through that we wanted. It still could. So I'm not going to chase now. Now you've got strong downward momentum. So I think you called it. So one winner, one small winner. You could still be in this trade if you didn't move your stop to break even. Now you do have a potential long signal, right?
Right?
So we're waiting to see. We also have crude oil
Yes,
at 10:30.
I was about to ask at what time you want to stop doing that and go to oil.
I would be careful on a long now because as some members have said, you don't have a single green candle.
Where?
Anywhere since we got short.
No, but
2,
we
3, 4,
would
5.
not have a long signal before we get green, for sure.
I think we're going to get a long signal right now.
I'm not sure.
Yep.
that's the way that the squeeze is working. We need green before it's gonna give
I
us.
mean, that was a valid long signal.
Yes, it is. Wow, that's a good one.
I'm trailing maybe a little too close. All right, so maybe I trailed that baby too close.
It's okay. It's 3 on 3 now.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to call it a morning and look at oil. 3 trades in a row. Could have made a little bit more. Could have done a little more.
It's not easy to
But
get
no,
the
it's hard.
first target is easy to do, but second target, it's not that easy.
The toughest decision is whether you where you move your stop if your target gets hit.
Exact.
Do you move it halfway between stop and profit? I mean, we were long, and now you're just not really getting that much of a follow through. And I'm sort of glad that we got our first target on that particular trade because there was strong downward pressure. But it wouldn't have stopped us out. So it would not have stopped us out.
It's going to retest that high.
Yeah. Now, I would say it already did because it's only 1 tick away.
Yes.
So that was the retest of the high. We're not outside the zone, so we're not allowed to take a short here.
But in those cases, when it's like 1 tick away from the zone and that zone was tested like 3 times before, those ones, I think we should took them, even if it
Consider
didn't
taking.
went,
Say that again, Chantal. Yeah, that wasn't clear. Say that again.
even if it didn't went outside the zone, because we have a wick just 1 tick above under the zone, and that zone was already, that level was already tested before like 3 times. Maybe those ones we can consider to take those signal, even if it didn't go above. But now it's not the case anymore. It's above. But remember yesterday we had something like that where
Right.
it didn't went outside the zone, but it was like a resistance or a support. I don't remember which side it was. And it was like the best move.
Right. What Chantal's saying is we tested the high multiple times. We had a wick that almost went outside the zone. Why not take that signal? And that would have been a short though, right?
Yes, but
It
we
wasn't a
didn't
long.
get the signal. But if we do have a signal, but it's not the case right now. Now
Right.
it's
Now it went out of the zone. The market, in my opinion, way too bullish for a short. I'm done. 3 trades in a row. I'll get ready for crude. We'll look at the crude
so
report.
imagine with ES, it would have been like over $400.
Right. If we use the real ES, we did not take a lot of heat today. We that could have been a $400 a day using the real ES. We're trading MES to test, build up confidence in the new setup, and make sure everybody understands how to trade it also. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the setup? Nobody's asking questions. That always worries me because I'm worried that everybody doesn't understand what the signals are. Does everybody understand when we got a real signal? I mean, we didn't take any incorrect signals. Right now, we're out of the zone. The price is moving up on the squeeze, light green. If you get a dark green squeeze at the top of the minute, that would be an official short signal, okay? We're done today because we're after 10. We're going to look at crude. Otherwise, you can go till 10:15, 10:20.
Somebody is asking if you watch tape or dome.
What'd they ask? I'm sorry.
He's asking if you watch the tape or the dome time and sale. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that is his question.
If the question is the dome, I don't look at it honestly, and that's just me. Doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It's just the way that I trade. I don't particularly care for the NinjaTrader Dome, so it's not something I use. When I was a TradeStation user, I traded from the Dome, but NinjaTrader's Dome is not very ergonomic, so I don't like using it. And excuse me, that's a personal decision. A lot of people love trading from domes. I don't. So it doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It's just the method that I use.
He said that's fine as long as it's work.
Yeah, everybody has a difference. Just like, what platform do you use? Some people like TradeStation. Our strategy works with NinjaTrader, so we use NinjaTrader. We now have an official short signal. It did not fill because the fill would be 63.75. Okay. That's the official fill. We said we were done trading. We're going to look at crude in a minute. Have you noticed that when crude goes up, the market goes up?
Absolutely.
So I've been watching crude out of the corner of my eye. And our short trade that worked, crude was going down also when we were in that short trade.
We never look at copper, but copper used to do that also, to move a little bit before the markets.
Yeah, we never look at copper.
But that's
sometimes
something
on
else.
Chinese news, we look at it. So now we would be filled short if we were still trading. We decided to finish with 3 winners in a row. Nothing wrong with that today. You're allowed. You don't have to keep trading if you don't want to. You could take your winners, move on to the next thing. It's perfectly allowed. You might give up the best trade of the day, or you might give all your money back. Or you might have a flat trade. You don't know. Let's watch this. The market, to me, is extremely bullish this morning. I think I was very happy our short worked because the market is up 1.5%, 1.5%. It's been making new highs since the open. Not by miles and miles, but it's been getting through the highs. So the shorts have never rewarded us incredibly well today, but they've worked at least, lending credence to our signals, which is nice. Now this was a difficult one, right? You might have gotten filled short to the tick, and then it didn't work.
Would have been a losing one, for sure.
I did not. Me personally, this market, I don't like to guess direction, but this market is bullish. And I was happy to take 3 winners and call it a morning. This was not, to me, an easy morning. The whole week has been a challenging week so far. It's not been easy this week. But you know what? Trading is not easy. You got to work at it. Definitely got to work at it.
But still, I think we would have got 3 winning days.
Yeah, I missed. I talked myself out of 2 good trades this week. Noted. Well, one of them was really fast. I'm not going to totally blame myself on that one. But yesterday I talked myself out of the best trade by trying to guess direction. And that's what we said we would not do today. So we didn't try to guess direction today when we were trading. Okay. So let's go over to oil. I'm going to reboot my strategy, my system. I'm going to go into sim. I'm going to take a quick picture of the morning's wins, the big $40 wins. We're not looking at hundreds and millions of dollars. We're looking at perfecting a strategy. That's our purpose here. And this morning it worked well. And we followed our rules. We didn't try to talk ourselves out of any trades today. So that's okay. So now we're going to go over to oil. I'm going to reboot my platform just to reset it. And I'll start a new trade room. So all of our Facebook members, I want to thank you all very much for coming. And we have a different trade now, a completely different setup. And we do not use the zone on our oil trade. And we don't really use double squeezes on our oil trade on this particular setup. So let me go to the right workspace. I'm going to go to a single squeeze. Look at a couple of different things. Oil's been making new highs pretty much as the market's been making new highs this morning. Let's look at the DMM on the oil trade. The DMM is a daily report that we issue the day before a trade that we're going to take. This is what the daily market mover DMM looks like. Now, if you follow it, these are the last 6 oil reports. 5 winners in a row. So I'm going to wait for oil to give me a stop before I consider trading it live. This is what I was talking about early this morning. I want oil to stop me out and just reset the report. I call that a reset of the report. Now, look, you could get a couple more winning trades in a row on oil, but more often than not, to get 5 winners in a row is very rare. Usually you get 2 or 3 and a stop, maybe 2 stops every now and then, 2 or 3 winners and a stop. It's more normal behavior. So our setup is we use a bracket of 10. This morning, I'm going to test just the normal breakout trade on oil. Normal breakout trade. Stop of 12, targets of 7 and 15. 10-second cancel if the trade doesn't get filled. Activation at 10:29:58 with a bracket of 10. That's my recommended setup. That's a window into the way that I might be trading this report. So let's start the trade room afresh, as if it's a brand new trade room. Thank you, Chantal, for so much help on the squeeze trade. And I will see you later. So let's start the oil trade room. This is the crude oil inventory report. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're trading. Crude oil inventories. I want to welcome everybody. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10-Minute Trades, and welcome to the crude oil inventory report. All trades being discussed are for educational purposes only. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so please be careful. Trade smart. You do want to check what your broker is doing with margins also. Some brokers have margins as high as $1,000 a contract on oil. Okay. So you want to be aware of what your broker is choosing to do on margins. Okay. Now, there's a lot of news associated with the oil report. Quite a few different elements. You've got gasoline storage, you've got oil usage, distillate usage, which is like kerosene and benzene and all the zenes that you're using in your barn, right? All sorts of different elements that make up the oil report. Let me show you what I mean. So the inventories on crude, imports, the Cushing inventories, distillate production, distillate weekly, gasoline production, heating oil, and gasoline inventory. So there's a lot of elements that have an effect on how crude will respond. I'm going to keep the news off to the side. AMP right now is, one of our members is telling us that AMP is 3,000. Ninja yesterday was 11,000. So make sure you check with your broker what the margins are. Some brokers are using what's called maintenance margin, okay? And maintenance margin is quite a bit higher. And AMP has a lot of rules, okay? They have a lot of rules with the way they're doing crude. Right now, their crude is $3,000. They're using day trade margins. But some of the brokers are using maintenance margin, and for some, that's 12,000, okay? So you want to read what your broker says. I am an AMP customer. Our account is AMP. Many of you are Ninja, okay? So check the Ninja margins, please. Please check your Ninja broker margins if you're trading crude. All right. Now I'm looking for a bad oil report. There's been so many good ones. that I'm just sitting tight, maybe for a week or two, and I'm waiting for oil to have a stop. All right. Now, a lot of people don't like trading that way, but I like to get a reset. I'd like to see a reset of the current report. Our setup, the setup that I'm looking to test this morning, no zones, a bracket of 10, one target for 7 ticks, one target for 15 ticks, which is up from 11. The stop, and how do I know what this data is? Well, every day before the trade, we issue a document called the Daily Market Mover. And it shows how I'm going to trade, how I might possibly be trading the crude oil report. Bracket at 10. All right. A target of 7 and a target of 15. A stop of 12. An entry time of 10, 29, 58. The style of trade that we use is a breakout trade. That's the type of entry that we use. And that's my setup, okay? That's the setup I use on crude. Now, over the course of history, year in, year out, crude has historically been one of the more difficult reports to make money on before the pandemic. There's lots of reversals. There's lots of tricky price movement with oil. It is the way it is, okay? Oil is not easy to trade. It's not easy to trade as a discretionary trader. And no one would lie to you and tell you, or I would not lie to you and tell you that oil is simple and easy to trade. It's challenging. And you need to practice. And it's $10 per tick. So for every 10 ticks on oil, that's $100. So we're risking roughly 12 ticks per contract, $120 per contract, okay, on oil. Another thing you want to do with oil is check your volume. Make sure that you're trading the contracts that have the highest volume levels, okay? So I'm going to create a little chart with daily volume and the instrument, and then I'm going to add this month's oil. I'm going to add the previous oil. Whoops, I already did that one, sorry. I'm going to add the previous oil, which is CL6, which is, we know that's expired. Let's put 8 on. And if you want to be OCD, we know 6 is expired. You could try and put it on. And it's 0, okay? So right now, 720 is the right contract to trade. It's got the highest volume. We know that very recently, the previous contract expired last week. How do you put on a new contract? Go to Tools, Instrument Lists, click on Futures, so it goes in your Futures folder. Add CL 0920. apply it and okay it. Now I can look, go into the futures folder, CL920, and there's a little volume, but the heavy volume is on CL720. So that's the contract to trade. Gonna check my time. How do you check your time? Remember, we go to time.is. It's a website. Not time.is.com, but time.is. Time is exact. On the oil trade, you want to be in sync and exact. So oil's been very volatile this morning, right? Look at that 1 minute chart. Look at a 5 minute chart on oil. Oil is very, very bullish today. So you can go through the news. There's probably some strong reasons for oil's bullishness. Usually this report is not very heavily affected by the oil news, okay? The report usually does its move, and then oil goes back to behaving the way it was behaving prior to the report. Sometimes it will be affected by the news if the news is dramatic, if there's a huge build or a huge drawdown. Again, the reason the oil index moves on this report, and this report is every Wednesday at 10:30. So we make an appointment to watch this report, sometimes trade it. And it is a report that, because it is dramatic, it has dramatic data, it moves the oil index. Okay? So that's what we see when we trade this report. We usually see some serious movement. Now, what's interesting is before the report, on the oil 30-second chart, you had an excellent short signal. Short at 68. It went to 53 before that wick. It did not stop you out by breaking the zone, and it went all the way to 33. You got to have, would you trade 15 minutes before the oil inventory report? A lot of people would not. A lot of people would not. Certainly wouldn't take this trade 7 minutes before the report, because the chances are you could be stuck in the trade. Right. That's next week, Al. Thank you for the reminder. Next week, all the oil reports will be delayed by a day because of the holiday. Hard to believe it's Memorial Day. I'm going away for the weekend. DW, I forgot about that when I said I would be around. I'm going away. It's a holiday. I'll social distance, and I'll probably wear a mask. Let's watch oil. See what the behavior is. I'll put the news on so we can see it. They've added so much news to the oil report. They've really added a lot. Crude oil inventories, that's the biggest number that everyone looks at. So our software will create a bracket above and below the current price. Look at that. What a move. Started pretty much at the market open, a couple of minutes after. Clinton, I'm not going camping, no. I'm not a camper. Probably go visit my daughter. I hope, anyway. All right, the report's coming out. Expecting a build. So you had a burst up. You have a big drawdown. Big drawdown. It's quite a bit of mixed news also. So that's exactly what I was kind of looking for. Very debatable whether your first target would have been filled on that report. Let's let it run for a minute. I'm going to get rid of the news for a second and watch the squeeze signals after the oil report. Okay? Let it do its thing. You probably had a good reversal trade, right? And that's a possible trade also with oil, is a reversal. So you had a big drawdown, meaning more oil was used than expected, right? More was used. So shouldn't the price be going up? Let me make sure that I'm giving you correct information. There was more of a drawdown than expected, okay? So there wasn't more oil in storage, there was less. But there was more gasoline in storage. And we know that sometimes oil just responds. It doesn't always follow the news. I mean, that's just something we know about the oil report, how it behaves. We know it moves, but we also know it doesn't always follow the report. In other words, sometimes more oil will be used than expected. In other words, they were expecting a build of over 1 million barrels. And instead, there was a drawdown of over 4 million. You would think under normal circumstances, and Cushing also had a drawdown, distillates and gas had builds, but you would think if they used more oil, the price would go up. It did, in fact, burst up, but then it went down. And that's the trickiness in trading oil. Now, if you look really carefully, the first target of 7 ticks theoretically was hit. I say theoretically because it was hit on a wick. Usually wicks are low volume. Let's look at the trade. I recorded it. Give me a second to just save the video. Today is the 20th. What I was looking here, right here, you had a long signal that did not work. You're right after the news, so you got to be super careful. And you have to really question the validity of signals 2 minutes after a report. Okay, that's something I would not personally jump into. Okay, I would not personally jump into that. Let's take a look at exactly what happened. Arthur, I don't agree with what you're saying, actually. They were forecasting a build. They were forecasting a build. So you had a $5 million barrel difference. I do agree with you that the price rose up before the report. That I do agree. But, you know, with oil and the reports, you can analyze it 1,000 ways. It almost doesn't matter, Arthur, because really what you're trading is the move, right? Because you never know what's baked in, what's not baked in, what the build's going to be, what the build's not going to be. You're really trading the move. So that's the key, is to have something that helps you to trade that move in a reliable way. So if you look at this morning's move, let's see what it looked like just from a trading standpoint and our setup. That's all I'm looking at. None of the technical analysis, none of the other stuff, just looking at the move. Could it have been traded for a profit? First, we'll watch it in real time. No way to get a profit more than 1 or 2 ticks out of that report. Not possible. I think everybody would agree to that. Are we agreed to that? No way to get a profit out of that report, except for 1 tick. Maybe you would have hit the close button. You couldn't have got your stop move fast enough. The real question is, would the target of 7 ticks, would that have been filled? Maybe. 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 No matter how you look at that, just from a price action standpoint, with the setup that we used, the breakout would not have been easy to get a profit. Would not have been easy. If the first target was filled, and it could have been, it printed pretty fast. And what Arthur is saying is he feels the Cushing number is very important. That was not even possible to get the reversal. It reversed so fast. Watch the reversal here. You could not get in short fast enough to grab that reversal. That's the other alternative way to trade oil. Not possible to trade that reversal. Now, look, of course, if you were willing, it's not quite the right move. You could reverse here, right? You could have reversed there. It's not the standard method by any means. It would have worked. But really not the standard method. The standard is a burst and a drop, or a drop and a pop. Just saying that for our strategy as a breakout, that was not a simple report. Maybe you would have grabbed those 7 ticks. Even if you got filled on those 7 ticks, it reversed so fast. And I personally don't think you would have been filled. I think there would have been slippage. I think it was not a winning trade, in my opinion. And Arthur, the same is true. I'm glad you're fine and safe. It never really gave you an opportunity to go big back into profit there, because your first move was long and it was much more than our bracket. Much more than the bracket. All right. Now the question is, now you're 7 minutes after the report. Now maybe you might consider looking at squeeze signals. But I don't think you want to take squeeze signals. I think you want to wait at least 5 minutes. At least. And that's something we have to test if we're going to test it. Any questions, folks? Anybody got any questions? Our next room is, we have an interesting next room. I'll tell you why. Our next room is 1:30. It's FOMC minutes. I don't know that FOMC minutes is actually a trade. There's been so many emergency meetings, so many changes in interest rates and statements that who knows what the FOMC, are they even releasing standard FOMC minutes? It's a very, very difficult scenario, to say the least. But we'll have the room and we'll see, and we'll keep an eye, because that's what we do. We got to do our job. So our next room will be at this is our weekly market mover, our weekly schedule. Our next room will be at 1:30. And you notice there's no CL settlement trade at 2 o'clock, 1:50. That's because on the day of the crude report, we don't normally trade that trade. But since we're going to be in the room, I'll stick around and test it. Because last week we tested it and it didn't work. There's been a couple of weeks where it has worked. Since we're in the room, it's only 18 minutes. So I don't mind spending the time. All right. So our next room is at 1:30 for FOMC minutes. I don't know how you deal with FOMC minutes in these markets right now, because there's been so much conversation from the Fed. In the old days, the FOMC minutes, the Fed didn't say anything leading up to the FOMC minutes. They were surprised, and that's why there was a reaction. Now the Fed's on the news every day, almost. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but they're on the news. So I want to thank everybody. Am I missing any comments? Chantal, are there any comments that I'm missing? I don't see any. I want to thank everybody for coming. And we will be back here at 1:30. I'm Lee Goldstein, the trading director at 10-Minute Trades. And yes, Arthur, it's the same link for later. Same link all week for everybody. So I'll see everybody at 1:30, okay? And I hope you enjoyed the trade room this morning, and I hope you learned something. And I'll talk to everybody later. Okay, folks, take care.